Kenny Santucci with the Strong New York podcast, and we are here outside Iron Culture. This is the hottest new gym in New Jersey. It has everything you could possibly want. If you're a bodybuilder, if you're into fitness, and hell, if you just want to get a great workout in, well, you definitely should check out this place. 25,000 square feet. This used to be an old bowling alley, and they converted into one of the sickest gyms you have ever seen. So come join me inside because it's a grand opening party and everybody's here. Place. It was an old bowling alley, and they converted this into what I believe will be one of the next meccas of training here in New Jersey. Kenny Santucci here with the Strong New York podcast, and we're doing a special series on gym owning. And I'm going to talk to gym owners all around the country and find out, because nowadays everybody thinks they could own a gym, but it's very hard. It's a very hard business, and we're going to dive into that with one of the best, my good buddy Arthur, owner and founder of Iron Culture. We are at the West Orange location right now, which is a beautiful space. You guys have blown out of water, and I think you guys are now setting the standard for what a gym should look like. But take us through from the beginning. Sure. Iron Culture, where'd the name come from?
Well, I actually came up with the name. I've been a lifter my whole life. I started when I was 15. It was my kind of therapy. And like for me, it's like brushing my teeth. I got to lift like every day. So, this is my second career. And I was presented with an opportunity to take over a gym that had lost its lease in Cedar Knolls, New Jersey. And I was thinking about a name, and I knew it had to be Iron because we're lifters, Jim.
Yeah.
That's the core of our business, is a quality lifting experience. But Iron what? And it's easy. I mean, the Iron part is easy. Anybody can buy a lot of machines and stick them in a room and call it a gym. But what really sets us apart, I think, is the culture part.
Yeah.
Because we try and create a community, a powerful community of like-minded people, who are all have the same vision for themselves, the same drive to improve themselves. And then the name culture occurred to me. It is a culture, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Gym people know, that's what we're all about. We love the gym, it's our happy place. It's where we find discipline, it's where we find focus, and where we find purpose. Mm-hmm. So Iron Culture seemed like a good name to me, and it's stuck. And 6 years later, we're opening our third gym, and we're doing pretty well.
I think there's a lot of people nowadays who, one, want to open up gyms, but two, also feel like they could create a community, they could create culture. Mm-hmm. But it's not as easy as just opening your doors and putting a bunch of great equipment in. Right. What do you think the key components are to creating that culture and that community?
Well, I think it starts at the top. It starts with ownership. And if ownership is committed to the lifestyle, to the vision, and to the mission of fitness, it sort of flows from there. I mean, a lot of people get into business thinking that, I just want an investment. It's just a business investment for me. I want to make some money. Nothing wrong with that, but it's not enough. You really have to believe it. You have to feel it. And I think that filters down to the people you hire. And you need good people to execute with you and for you. And I think, our staff, our management team, our trainers, everyone who works for us, all share that vision, all share the commitment to creating the best quality experience for our members.
You had mentioned you had another career before this. What was that?
I've been in the real estate business. I started my career as a real estate lawyer, and then worked for a family company for over 20 years. We built apartment buildings, and we were also in the transportation business. If you ever taken a ferry into New York City, it's New York Waterway was my family company. I was the business development guy for many years, and I essentially worked myself out of a job because there are only so many places you could run a ferry in New York Harbor. And I was looking for something new to do. I was in my mid-50s, and I was bored and frustrated in my old job, and I couldn't. What do I love to do? I love to go to the gym and lift weights, so I wanted to start a gym.
One of the things I talk about a lot on the podcast is the importance of purpose in life. See, a lot of people get to 35, 40, 50 years old, and you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have purpose, then you're constantly feeling like something's missing. Do you feel like this is your purpose?
Oh, absolutely. It always was. I very much believe in personal growth and transformation. I fathered 4 children. Watching them grow, being a good father, you can't not care about personal development. So, I like to take that attitude towards my members, my staff. It's all about helping others develop into the person that they were meant to be.
And I think what you do well is, and what you said was perfect about culture, is like you have to lead by example. You can't just be a boss. You have to be the guy in the gym doing the thing. Where did that come from? Like, because you're a little bit older than I am, and lifting weights wasn't something, even still to this day, 80% of the country doesn't lift weights, doesn't work out. They don't do that. You were pretty much an early adopter. I mean, you were born in the 60s?
I was,
Yeah. So, coming up, you were a kid in the 70s. Half your friends probably didn't even work out, right? Or didn't you think
that's
that?
right.
Yeah. So, what made you want to start working out at such a young age?
Well, I'll tell you the story. My father, who was a very successful self-made man, made quite a bit of money in the trucking industry and developed what was regarded as the very best trucking company in the country. It was a model for management consultants to study. In the mid-1970s, he built a state-of-the-art recreation center for his employees. It had a pool, a basketball court, ceramic studio. It had a weight room. And it had the first generation of Nautilus machines. I think I was 15 years old, and I just fell in love immediately with the feel of lifting weights, with the progress I saw in my body, with the stress relief it provided, because growing up with my dad was pretty stressful. And so it just hooked me very early, and I've lifted pretty much my whole life.
One of the things that I try to think about a lot is, we treat the gym like brushing our teeth, like taking a shower. It's like something we have to do, otherwise we don't feel like we've completed our day. What do you think? How do you think the gym industry, right? Because I think this is the hardest thing. How do we get more people who don't think about it to live their lives the way we do? That it should be something that you do on a daily basis.
Yeah. Well, it's a very good question, and that's actually at the heart of our marketing efforts for Iron Culture. We're regarded as a hardcore gym. We have a lot of bodybuilders, a lot of very big men and women here.
Yeah.
But we are very careful to make our appeal as general and as accessible as possible. We want the beginners. We want people who have never tried this before. We want to sell people on a lifelong habit of keeping fit. And I think with our marketing, with our staff, with our overall physical plant and equipment, we've been able to encourage a lot of people who might be intimidated by walking into an Iron Culture that, hey, this place actually could work for me.
Yeah. There's a lot of bodybuilding gyms. I've been to Bev Francis, I've been to Metroflex, I've been to Diamond. These are the classic bodybuilding gyms that we grew up with.
Right.
You walk in here, and there's just a very warm aesthetic to it.
Right.
Take us through kind of the design process of that and what you wanted to accomplish, because if that was the case, you did a really great job with it. You walk in and you feel like it's cool, it's got a bodybuilding vibe, but it's warm and user-friendly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, of course, is the equipment. The focus on the equipment is key, because that's where you get your work done. But the atmosphere we wanted to create was one of kind of urban, edgy, cool.
Yeah,
you know. We tend to avoid things you see in other bodybuilding gyms, like framed pictures of old competitors and slogans on the walls, because that tends to put a lot of people off. So the background is a little more neutral. It's a little more abstract, I think, our design aesthetic.
Yeah. I agree.
And that makes it more appealing to people who might be turned off by the more traditionally hardcore kinds of.
But I think with the lighting and the way things are broken out, I think it just has a really nice appeal to it.
Yeah.
Like, I walked in, I would go, this feels good.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that people don't understand about a great gym is that when you walk in, what do I immediately feel?
Sure.
Whether the gym's packed with people or empty,
Right.
there's still, the room gives you a certain vibe to it, and I think you guys did a really nice job with that.
Thank you.
Now, a lot of people are going to come in here and say, man, this is a nice gym. One day I want to build something like this.
Okay.
Not going to be easy.
Well, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Yeah.
We've had some imitators already, but it is, as you say, it's harder than you think.
Yeah.
Because there's an intangible aspect to this that really, I think, has to do with the vibe. The vibe is, it encompasses so many things.
Yeah.
Right? The energy, the physical aspect, the human aspect. If you hit it right and you get all the notes to play together, you created some beautiful music.
Yeah. Well, last night I was with, Daniel Ballou.
Okay.
And, we were talking about how special certain people are because they could put these things together. Alex Ramosi, you know him, right? So I think he's another guy who talks about how important it is to have all these elements together to become really successful.
Right.
But there are those untangibles. There are those abstract things about a business that most people don't have. What would you say your untangibles are? What are those things in your business that you guys are doing so well that allowed you to grow? Like, because I've seen the evolution of your business and it's been incredible. You started with the garage gym, right? That garage feel.
Yep.
North Bergen was a step up, and this is like next generation. I truly believe you guys are setting the standard for what a gym should look like now, moving forward.
Yeah.
So what are those intangibles that you guys feel like you have?
Well, it's definitely been an evolution, and I think the design aesthetic has certainly evolved into what you see today, which is it's inviting. It's almost hard to put into words. There's a certain wow factor, I think, when you walk into this gym. A lot of it has to do with the lighting, for example. I've seen so many gyms have great equipment, but they have drop ceilings with fluorescent lights, and it's like, oh my God, I'm like working out in an office. Right?
I think that's such an important detail, because so many people are like, yeah, we could just put those honeycomb lights up and it'll look great. But I just feel like that's like such a cop-out. I think you guys did a lot of like the up lighting, where it's just enough light that it feels good. You go into certain restaurants and stuff and it's so dark and you're like, I can't even see my fucking food. Certain gyms are too bright. You're like, what? I feel like the sun's out.
Right.
You guys did such a nice job. Who was your lighting designer? Who did that? Like, did you have last say on a lot of that stuff?
Yes. Well, we did spend close to $1 million just on the lighting package for this facility.
Holy shit.
So we spent quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
But it's proving to be, we're going to be making it back quite soon.
Yeah.
Because it really sells. We used a firm called HLB, which is a international lighting design firm. They do museums, they do airports, office buildings, real professional.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to have to pay for that kind of talent, but you see the results. So if you want to shoot high, you gotta.
Well, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'll just throw some black paint on the walls and but there's a lot more that goes into it, and I think people don't give gym owners the credit they deserve.
Right.
What are 3 things that you have to do for your business before you even open the doors? Like, what are 3 things that have to get done?
Well, first of all, you need a great staff of people. I couldn't do this all by myself.
Yeah.
It's a real team effort, and to find the right people who collaborate well, who aren't territorial, who cooperate, and who I don't have to micromanage. is absolutely critical. So pick your people. It
Yeah.
all starts with the people. And after the people, it's the equipment. You know, the weight room is the core of our business, obviously. We are a lifter's gym. So you need the very best equipment, the best selection, and the best layout of that equipment. You know, but after that, it's the overall design aesthetic, I'll call it, the lighting, the music, you know.
What kind of vibe you're trying to create?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want to feel the energy the minute you open the door.
Yeah.
You know, and even with our first gym in Seagulls, you felt that.
Yeah.
Which is why I think we were successful. There was sort of a, wow, this is different. This is cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it gets people engaged early, so they take the step in. They say, check it out. And they look at it and they say, okay, I'll give it a try. And then it snowballs, you know.
How I met you guys was, during the holidays, I obviously had my businesses in New York. When I'd come home to Jersey, I was always looking for a good bodybuilding gym that I could go to that's open on the holidays. And I just had stumbled upon it. Somebody had told me there's this gym called Iron Culture. You should go check it out. So I started going there on the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. I'd take my mom with me. We'd go work out. And that's how I had met Nick. But through the years, I mean, that was probably 4 or 5 years ago, I think, the first time I went in. And I've seen you guys grow, but I've also seen a lot of other people. Just like you said, you have a lot of people who are trying to copy what you're doing.
Go ahead.
You've been working out for the past 40, 50 years of your life. So take me through, like, what have you seen? Because you've been privy to it. There's a lot of people who just started lifting during COVID.
Right.
But you've seen the evolution of this world. You've seen the development of a lot of gym equipment, like some of the stuff you have out here is unbelievable. None of this stuff existed 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, so you're seeing the evolution of equipment, you're seeing the evolution of people coming into the space, you're seeing the evolution of gyms.
Yeah.
Kind of give us your perspective on, like, how you think it evolved.
I think it's certainly become weightlifting, bodybuilding, you know, hypertrophy training has become a lot more mainstream. You know, I was born in 1963, you know, so I remember the golden age. I remember Arnold, you know, when it was sort of a little sketchy, a little socially unacceptable to want to lift weights. And I remember encountering that in high school, you know, believe it or not. It's like, you know, most of my friends, they were more into golf and tennis. It's like, no, I don't want to play golf and tennis. I want to lift weights.
Yeah.
So I was really kind of, you know, an odd man out early, but I've seen it become much more mainstream and much more popular. People feel the health benefits, they appreciate the aesthetic benefits. And I think, you know, lifting is meat and potatoes fitness. It will never go out of style. And the more people who engage in it and feel and see the benefits of it, I think it will continue to grow.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel it's become more mainstream. When you look at bodybuilders that have more social media presence and more influence than celebrity,
Right.
you're starting to see the world kind of turn a little bit because people are interested in it.
Right.
They just they're not sure how to engage with it, or they're not sure they could do it.
I should have said that, of course, the rise of social media has changed everything completely.
Yeah.
And it's relatively new. I mean, you know, I'm a dinosaur. And I remember, you know, I got my first Facebook page like 15 years ago, which seems like an eternity. But, you know, the image-driven nature of social media is certainly helping popularize, you know, and in celebrity, you know, online celebrity, online fitness. So
you have, I'm guessing, a 9-figure gym here, right? All in, everything you've put into this place. You got to put the best equipment in. What are 3 pieces that you knew right away that you had to have in here to make this the best gym?
Oh, it's hard to just narrow it down to 3. I've always been partial to the incline chest fly.
Okay.
The plate-loaded chest fly. Arsenal makes one now. Atlantis makes one too.
Is that the one you have, the Atlantis one, right?
Yes, we have the Atlantis one. I love that machine. God, it's so hard to choose. The standing chest press, which I happen to love.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, it's not everyone likes it. I think.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about it, but yeah, I know a lot of people love it.
I happen to love that one.
Yeah.
But that's maybe I'm a little odd. And then the lat pullover. You know, the pullover machine.
Which one do you have? The Atlantis one?
Yes. You know, and it's you don't see that in too many gyms.
No.
So
I'm guessing you're a fan of Atlantis.
Yes.
What are two other brands that you really love in the space right now?
Well, I tell you, Prime makes excellent stuff.
Yeah.
Prime really makes excellent stuff. I wish they'd open another factory because it takes a year to get this. Hey guys, open another factory.
Yeah.
But I think Prime makes excellent machines, and we're excited to get some new tech machines in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, they're blowing up.
We're getting new tech. We're getting 6 pieces of new tech.
Okay.
It's just been delayed because it has to come from South Korea, but they will be here shortly. So I'm very excited about the new tech.
Yeah, the new tech stuff is great. I was just out at the Olympia, and they had a whole section for them. I also just tried that Gym 80. Have you ever used their stuff?
Don't think so.
Gym 80 is like the German version of Panada and Atlantis. It's like really high-end, really nice stuff. But I think you've done such a nice job with this thing. I tell people all the time, people remember how you made them feel, like how when they walked in the room, the customer service aspect.
Oh, yeah.
How important is that to your business?
Oh, it's critical. I mean, we're a premium brand. We charge a premium, and so people expect premium service. So I tell people, when we hire them, you're really not in the gym business. You're in the hospitality business.
I love that.
You're in the hospitality business. Think of yourself, if you're at the front desk or if you're a personal trainer, think of yourself as the concierge at a 5-star hotel. You're there to take care of people's needs, make them feel welcome, answer their questions, sell them, but in an appropriate way, right? You don't want to overwhelm them. You don't want to be obnoxious about selling, and that shows that the company cares, and people pick up on that. If your front desk person is staring down at their phone when you walk in or when you leave, you'll remember that. It's like, hey, make eye contact, say something, right? Yeah. We are very clear that we expect the highest standards of service from everybody. Even if you're only a part-time front desk person that works 10 or 12 hours a week, everyone's held to the same standard,
Onto the business side of things, you have a lot of employees here, you have a lot of overhead. How much, aside from the rent, which is probably very expensive, what's your next 2 big line items on there?
Well, clearly payroll.
Yeah.
Payroll is probably our biggest expense. Payroll, then rent, and then third would be cleaning. We spend a lot of money on cleaning. If you come to this gym, you'll see people, we hire a cleaning firm. They're here, every day of the week, 40 plus hours a week of cleaning. And it adds up. Yeah. But it makes a huge difference. You should not see a speck of dirt on the floor. You shouldn't see any smudges on the mirrors or on the doors. You shouldn't see sweat stains on the machines. That feeling of cleanliness, I'd say, is absolutely critical.
To me, like I said, this is the future. The lighting's incredible. The equipment's incredible. Obviously, there's people screaming out there. They're having a great time.
Right.
Where do you go from here? How do you level up?
Well, there's nowhere to go but up. I think we've been open about 6.5 years, and we have not just the front of the house gym space, but the back of the house systems in place now to really scale up the business.
Nice.
Our sales, our communications, our accounting systems, our HR. There's a lot that goes into building a platform that you can grow. So we're not just a one-off. I was fortunate to have over 20 years of corporate experience before getting in the gym business. So, I know how to scale up a business, and then we're in the process of doing that so that it's rinse and repeat. We can just open the next one and the next one and the next one after that.
There's going to be a lot of young trainers out there, even some gym owners who have places who want to hear what you have to say. What's your advice to most people who are like, they see what you have and they're like, I want to try to do that. What's your advice there?
Well, listen, I think, this is a tough economy. It's a tough world. Fitness is a tough business, like most. I would try and avoid the big corporate gyms. Maybe start there, get some experience, see how it's done and see how maybe it shouldn't be done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you need to learn. You need to get experience before you want to strike out on your own, really. So I'd recommend, at least 5 years of experience as a trainer, maybe a junior management position, before you even contemplate going off and starting something of your own, you know. Raising capital is difficult too if you don't have capital, you know, to start. You have to partner with people. You want to partner with the right people, you know.
That could go south.
Well, that's right. You know, you don't want to pick the wrong money partner. So there's a lot that goes into it. But, you know, if you have the drive and you have the passion and you have the patience, you know, I think it's doable. I think we could be quite successful in this industry. And for those of you who maybe not so entrepreneurial and want a more stable kind of, you know, work environment where you can advance, come work for us.
Yeah.
You know, because really, we just started offering our employees health insurance. So we have health insurance, 401k, paid time off.
That's great.
You know, we have all the benefit packages of a much larger corporation because we recognize that training and retaining talent is probably the most difficult. I would say the most difficult aspect of this job. Because you train someone to do their job and they leave you after a couple of years, they take their clients with them. Oh, you know, shit.
Sets you back a little bit.
It sets you back. You want people who will stay with you for the long term.
Yeah.
And you have to make it worth their while.
I think that's such a good point you bring up, because you look at Crunch, Equinox, Planet Fitness,
Right.
Lifetime, a lot of these brands, just from somebody who's worked at some of these places and been to some of these places, I don't think they appreciate talent, or they don't spend the time. Like, I think Equinox does a good job of developing their talent, but then don't pay them enough to stay around.
Right.
What's your take on how you guys operate in that same?
Well, of course, we're much smaller, and so we're a lot closer to our people. I mean, I do the final interviews with all of our training staff. So, I mean, how many companies do you actually interview with the owner? You know,
Yeah.
that becomes more and more difficult as you grow. The challenge is to maintain that kind of corporate culture as you grow, you know, because once you get to be a certain size, then you don't want to get too corporate in the negative sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we want to be corporate in the positive sense. We want to be organized. We want to have our priorities straight. We want to have our procedures down, right? We want to make sure our people are well trained and know what they're doing. But we don't want to be bureaucratic. You know, we don't want to lose touch with the actual person who's producing the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's really the problem, because in big companies, essentially you're a number. You're what you're producing. They look at they see if you're producing or not, and you know, they make decisions based on that rather than getting to know the whole person.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
if I was somebody who is moving to this area and I have, you know, there's Lifetime in Florham Park, right? There's an Equinox in Summit or whatever, and if I'm trying to make the decision as to, like, because now you guys are in the big box realm. You're no longer just a local gym in New Jersey. You guys have some scale to you.
Right.
What decisions would you make, or what decisions should I make as to why I should come here over the other two?
Well, I think ultimately you obviously have to make that decision yourself. You should interview at all three and see what the best fit is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nothing bad to say about Lifetime or Equinox. They're very well-run companies. They're very profitable, but they're different. You know, they're big companies, and they tend to be a little slow, a little bureaucratic. We're not that. I hope we never are. But I think we offer the same. We offer more personal investment in our people and our employees, as we get to know them better, as we are smaller and we are closer to the ground in that sense.
Yeah. And as a consumer, you know, you walk into here, and like I said, I mean, you've created a vibe. You have the equipment for somebody. I believe as the consumer becomes more educated, they're going to walk in here and they're going to be like, oh, they have this, they have that. This is a lifter's gym. This is somebody, the owner gives a shit because he works out here.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of the corporate gyms fall off, is that the owner's not working out there.
Right.
So they're just they're like, all right, just it's the rinse and repeat of just putting the same stuff in there. But I feel like every rendition of your gym that I've seen, you've upgraded.
Right.
You're like, we're not just putting the same shit in. We're going to get the new stuff and the new brand.
Yep.
You know, and I think you guys have done that really well. Well, listen, I think I've given you a lot of kudos here. Arthur, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it, man. You're one of the best. Keep up the good work, and we're excited to see what you guys do next.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Thank you guys, as always, for watching. Check us out. If you're in the New Jersey area, they have 3 amazing gyms. Just look up Iron Culture on social media, and you'll find these guys. They are doing some great stuff. Thank you, as always. Grab yourself a Celsius Live Fit, like, share, subscribe, and send to a buddy. All right, that's it for us here at Iron Culture in West Orange, New Jersey. You heard it from the owner himself, what it takes to open up a place like this. It's not cheap, it takes a lot of precision, it doesn't happen by mistake. There's a lot of money that goes into this, but a lot of time, effort, and wisdom, right? That only comes with time. It's about working at other places. It's about knowing the equipment. It's about knowing the market and what you can and can't do in certain areas. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Hope you guys enjoyed the tour. If you're ever in the North Jersey area, come check out Iron Culture. There's 3 locations, the West Orange one. I'll see you guys soon. Next up, we'll be in Florida. I hope you guys enjoyed the tour, and let me know if you want to be next.